Well, there are many ways, and I encourage your creativity. Oftentimes at this stage, students like to see an example. So let's use this as an example of the ratios tab in the ratio calculator. And I've gone ahead and built this basic structure here. And let me just show you the layout. Column A is 50 wide, and then columns B through E are 15. And I am using an Aptos Narrow 10 font for it. And under page layout orientation, you can see I have it set up as landscape. So this is what it will look like when I print preview. So let's go ahead and start off by bringing in a lot of this data. Like we're going to pick and pull a lot, like total revenues are just coming from the income statement. And the same way that income statements will pull in from there our net income available. I'm going to move down column B to begin with, and I'm going to go to the balance sheet next and bring in our cash and cash equivalents. And then off that balance sheet also bring in our long-term debt. So we're just picking and pulling for the time being. And now the statement of cash flows, let's grab the three subtotals. So cash flows from operating and then equals from the statement of cash flows. Let's find our cash flows from investing. And then lastly, off that statement of cash flows, our cash flows from financing. After I've got those in there, let's make those into accounting format and let's take off the decimals. And then we can just copy and paste it over because we know our values in B, C, and D are following 2023 B, 2024 C, and 2025 D. So copy and paste is an easy way to pull them over. Let's do our change formulas by doing equals the previous year divided by 2 years before and then subtracting off 1. I'm going to copy that and then I'm going to select this arrow or this section down here and I'm going to paste that in all as formulas and then delete the two holes in there. And the reason I do that is so that I don't lose my formatting. Let's grab these numbers. They've got way too much going on them. So let's make them into percentages and then let's give them two decimals. And then let's apply some logic. Imagine you're sitting in a board meeting and they tell you, hey, if something's better than 6%, we're really happy about that. So off of home, we're going to apply some conditional formatting using icon sets. And I like these shapes right here. We pick it and it gives some automatic logic, but let's apply our logic by going to conditional formatting, managing rules, and editing this and saying we want to really be highlighted green when we see a number that's greater than 0.06 or 6%. We want to be cautious if we see a number that is between 6% and 0. And if it's less than 0, let's make that thing red. So I'm going to click OK and apply it again. You go, oh, positive but cautionary, negative bad, greater than 6, happy, and then 3 really bad ones. And this way too, since I'm using Mondelez, if you choose to do similarly, you can cross-reference it and see whether or not you got the same numbers that I did. And I encourage you to do whatever company you like, but sometimes people like to model off of what I do, just so you know you've got the hang of it. So let's move into the ratios part and let's execute some formulas. So operating profit is going to be equals off the income statement. We want to find operating revenue and expense and income and divide that then by the revenues. Net profit margin is going to be equal off the income statement. We're going to find that net income available to common shareholders and we're going to divide that. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button in here. I got to get my spreadsheet back in front of me. All right, back. We're going to take that net income available to common shareholders and divide it by total revenues as well. Then return on equity, we're going to go to our income statement. We're anchoring in on this net income to common shareholders. And we're going to divide that then off of the balance sheet by our total equities. And then basic EPS is just going to be a pick and pull off of the income statement where we had imported that data before. Make that one into accounting. And then why don't we make this one into a number form, but with that number form, we're actually going to increase the decimal by 2. And then we can grab all of these and then paste them over as formulas. And that should give us the formula layout But let's grab this part then too, and then click our Format Painter, and then highlight these values so that they all present similarly. And if I look on the example, I actually want those ones to be in percentages. So let's change that one up to be in a percentage with 2 decimals. And now our numbers look better and match. So how do we get this part over here? We're first going to use an equals if statement and think about, we really want the most recent number to be greater than the one before it, comma. If so, that would show improving state of operating margin, close quotes, comma, open quotes. If it's not the case, if it's going down, we want it to tell us that it's declining, close quotes, close parenthesis, and enter, and you can see it is declining. So let's copy that, and similarly, let's paste those formulas on down, and you can see in every case, our net profit margin's going down, our ROE's going down, our EPS is going down. So how did I get the coloration over here? Well, let's take a look at that as a different type of conditional formatting. So I'm going to grab all those remaining values, home, conditional formatting. This time let's do a highlight cells rule where if the word that comes out of the if statement is declining, we want that to be light red with dark text. And then okay. And then let's add a second set of conditional formatting, highlighting cells, where if it's equal to improving, well, that would be something we want to highlight in green. Click OK and OK there. And we don't have anything good happening yet. Maybe liquidity ratio will help us. Equals off the balance sheet, total current assets divided by, now we want to find total current liabilities. And then we'll do quick ratio, which is equals off the balance sheet. We have to actually start that over and do equals, open a parenthesis, because off the balance sheet, we need to add cash and cash equivalents plus trade receivables, close that parenthesis, and then divide it by total current liabilities and see the formula produce that result. Debt to assets is going to be equals off the balance sheet. We're going to find total liabilities and then divide our total liabilities equals off the balance sheet our total liabilities and divide that by our total assets. And then debt to equity will be equals off the balance sheet, find our total liabilities number and divide that one by our total equity number. And then let's do similarly, let's make those into a number and then increase the decimal so it has 4. And then we kind of want this to look the same. Actually, I think if I remember right, we want these to be 2 decimals, I think. So let's make those all 2 decimals. Yeah, that's the way we want it. And then we'll copy and paste. And because we're going to paste special as formulas, we'll keep that formatting line in between. And then we'll use that Format Painter command to make them all look pretty. Now let's copy and paste our logic down here too as that same formula mentality. And when we do that, we see actually we have a small problem here. If we think about the logic, debt to assets, if it goes up, that's actually a bad thing for us. We don't need that one. And if debt to equity goes up, that's actually a bad thing too, because that means that our debt is increasing. So let's make a small change in this one to flip that logic. So we actually want D23 preferably to be less than C23. And because it's not, it's declining. And if we do the same thing here and we put the formula in, we see that one's declining. Well, how come this one's staying the same if it's equal to 0.32? Well, because if you look and we actually expand the decimal, it is slightly improving. So at least we have that going for us. So I'm going to save that and then preview it. And this is one example then of a ratios tab that pulls in select data that we can analyze for changes, calculates a bunch of different ratios on the bottom that again, we look at trends and then we applied conditional formatting in if statements to provide us with a quick visual discernment of what the financial health could look like by using a ratios tab with some visual logic built in, analyzing the statements that brought the financial data as inputs.